Thought I'd make my first woodworking video be a tour of my small shop. This is looking down between my wife's car and the wall of my shop in the garage. Inside the shop, on the right, spindle sander, my drill press, and on the blue stand a small 6-inch disc sander and a 4-inch belt sander. Then right on around, looking across, my outfeed table, which I use as an assembly table and storage catch-all, as you can tell, looking toward the back of the shop. On inside to the left, my bandsaw, wood storage. Behind the bandsaw is my clamp rack. I'll move over there in a moment. And my chop saw and some of the scraps that I use for making segmented rings for bowls and other projects. And I don't know whether the light will work or not. Yeah, there's my clamp rack built onto the wall behind my bandsaw. Let me get this. That was a bag of plastic bags that I use for trash. Then on to the right, my table saw and my assembly table. There's not much room between here, but down between the wall and my bandsaw, straight ahead, you'll see my lathe. I'll give you a better shot of that in a moment. Then on into the end of my table saw. We'll turn around here and look back across the table saw at the door where I just came in. And then storage underneath the extension table on the table saw. There's another shot back toward the door. It's kind of tight on the left side here, but I've learned to live with that, and I use that wall as storage. There's about 30 inches between the blade and the wall, and then there's, I think, 54 inches to the right of the blade, so that gives me plenty of room. And my laptop, which I use occasionally for the program that I use for making segmented bowls, and for looking at woodworking videos on YouTube and keeping track of my granddaughters on Facebook and all sorts of crazy things. Then my router table, which looks kind of funny. I don't know, I had this bright idea at one point in time that everything that I made in my shop I was going to make green. And that's the first thing I made, and it's the last thing I made green. My dust collector behind that, which I use strictly for my table saw and my router. Then this, my sharpening station, and to the behind the guess I can't do a close-up. I can do it like this. This is my mini lathe, which I've built a little sander. Call it my flat sander. It's kind of like the sand flea, only it's a lot smaller. I think the drum's only like 9 inches wide. And I have it mounted on the same table as my sharpening station. In the corner, some storage of turning blanks and scraps and pieces. And And the tools that I use mostly while I'm turning, I store here. And there's some more down below the lathe, of course. It's a Delta 46440, I think, is the lathe with the extension on it. As you can see, my shop doesn't have very good lighting, so I've got lights all over everywhere. Then the storage behind the lathe are for those things that I typically use while I'm turning. And then right in the middle you see some shelves where I store all my screws, all my fasteners. And then next to that some shelves with some miscellaneous items, and back around to the bandsaw. And just a quick note about the doors. They're overall 6 foot wide. Each door is 3 foot, and I built those with mortise and tenon joinery using 5/4 poplar, 1/4-inch MDF for the panels, and I think it was 3/16, maybe a 1/4-inch plexiglass for the windows. That was actually the first project I made. I built those and hung them before the shop was even a shop.